Hello, 8th graders. Sorry I am out again today. I have a sick child. I'm going to walk you through Sprite Smash, though, so that you can complete most of it today on your own. Make sure you have the Sprite Smash directions, the Computer Science Notebook open, and MIT App Inventor. Go to Projects, Start New Project, and name it Sprite Smash. And I'm going to put period 1, semester 2. You do not need to do that. So, Sprite Smash, we're going to go through and look at each of the things that we put into our backlogs. For each backlog item, I want you to make sure that you are completing testing on each part that you do. So I'm going to go all the way down to Sprite Smash, and I can see that the first thing that I need to do is create a screen with a canvas and an image sprite, make the sprite move at a certain time or interval to random places on the screen, and make a sound when it is touched. So that's the first thing that I'm going to do. First sprint task list. So I know I need a canvas, and I'm going to have the canvas fill parent for height, and over here under width, fill parent, and I'm going to pull over an image sprite, and I'm going to rename this to whatever image sprite you're going to put on there. So I'm going to say image sprite pancakes. And I'm going to upload my image that I created from my downloads folder. Don't mind, it looks different than yours because I am on my Mac. On the left hand side, just look for your downloads folder. And your image sprite's going to get really big when you attach it here. So we're going to go picture and pancakes and OK. And I'm going to resize it. I think I'm going to make mine about 50 pixels by 50 pixels. That looks good. So there I've got my sprite. Now I need to add a sound from the media drawer. And I'm going to rename this sound Yum. Okay. And I'm going to upload the sound file that goes with this. And attach that to the source. This is a problem that you'll have if you try to press on your image sprite and you haven't attached your MP3 sound. It will not make the sound. So that is the first part. We have created the canvas. Now we need to, and we made a sound here, we need to make the sprite move at a certain time or interval to random locations on the screen, staying invisible till it reaches the next location. So you can see right here in the directions it tells you exactly how to do that. We're going to make a procedure for this, and a procedure is just something we can call whenever we need it to do a specific task. So we're going to say blocks procedure to do. We're going to name it move pancake sprite. And if you see in the directions, it says that we're going to first set it to be invisible. So we'll say visible to false. And then we're going to have it move on its X and Y axis to random locations from 1 to the width of the canvas minus however big our sprite is. That's so that it doesn't go off of the screen. So in here we're going to say image sprite pancake, set visible, and in logic I'm going to get false, and then I'm going to say set X, and I'm going to duplicate this and do the same for a Y. And I'm going to set it to, and I need math. I need to actually have a random integer from 1 to, we're going to get rid of the 100 because we're going to put our own thing in there. And in there we're going to put in, we're going to be nesting some math. We're going to do a minus. So again, for that one, what I did was went to math, and I went down to here to random integer from 1 to 100, and I pulled out the 100 and put it in the garbage, and then I went back to math, and I said minus. And I want to find the width of the image sprite and the width of the canvas. So I'm going to say canvas width minus image sprite width, and this one will be height, and canvas height. Now if you look at it at the directions sheet, you can see that we also need to then set the sprite back to being visible. So I'm going to duplicate this and change this to true. Now, I need to have some way to have this sprite move around the screen. And what I want to do is have it move every couple milliseconds or seconds. So I'm going to pull a clock over from sensors, and I'm going to rename it clock move sprite pancakes. And I'm going to leave the interval at 1,000. You could set it to a shorter number, then it would move even faster. That's something that you can play with when you're working on it. Now I'm going to say clock move sprite. When it fires or the timer goes off, I'm going to go to procedures and call move pancakes. So every time that timer goes off, so every 100 milliseconds, which is every 1 second, it will move around on the screen. And if you want to make that faster, change it to a smaller number. I also said that when it's touched, so when image sprite touched, I wanted it to make this sound, so we'll play that sound. So this is your first set of directions. Right now I want you to test your app to make sure that 1, your sprite moves, and 2, when you press on it, it makes a sound. So pause this video and do that right now. Okay. The second one is to create a label with the text score, and we need to have a label to hold that score number. And whenever the sprite is touched, we're going to increase that score, which means we're going to need a variable. So we're going to go back here to Designer, and we're going to add a layout Oop, here comes Archer. I'm going to pause this for a second. And in the horizontal arrangement, I'm going to put in 2 labels. The first one I'm going to rename label score description. And the second one I'm going to rename label score number. Score description for the text is going to say score, and then I did the colon. And I'm going to make the text a little bit bigger, maybe 24. And I'm going to do the same. This one's going to have a value of 0 to start. And I'll make it size 24. And I'm going to go ahead and click on my screen and center everything so it looks nice. You can mess around with your color and your font if you would like to. But I'm going to go to blocks and I'm going to say I need a variable. So I'm going to click here on variables and I'm going to initialize a variable and name it score. And I'm going to set it to 0. And I'm going to say every time the image sprite is touched, I already have this here, I'm going to set that global score to whatever value it has now, plus 1. So I can increment it. And then I need to make sure that I'm updating the score number label text with whatever that new value is for score. So this was the second one here. So I would like you to stop right now, pause the video, test this, and make sure that it works. Make sure you're writing your tests in here. So you should have a test for image, sprite, moves and makes sound when touched. And you should now have one for image, sprite, when image sprite touched, score increases by 1. I'm tabbing over. The final thing that we need to do is add a reset button onto here, and that's a pretty easy one. We're going to go over to the designer and add a button below here, rename it reset, say OK, make the text say reset, make the font a little bit bigger, and in blocks I'm going to say when reset button is clicked, we're going to duplicate this and we're going to actually set the score to 0. And we're going to duplicate this, and that'll update the label. Now I want you to stop, pause the video, and test it. And again, you're going to say test reset button. Make sure that it works. I will add another video on here that talks about the extensions that you can do if you get that far today.